Greetings, family, friends. Welcome to our Advocacy Workshop two-part series. We thank you. Hi, Mark. Everybody, you are all family. You all know that. See some very familiar faces. Welcome to our new family members. Thank you for taking the opportunity to spend your evening with us and learning. So that is lets us know that you probably heard about us and the work that we do and kind of sparked your attention or your curiosity. So we thank you for being intentional about planning your day and being with us this evening. So I want to start off with some introductions. You are valued and appreciated. So my name is Michele McClendon. I am identified as formerly incarcerated, justice involved. I'm also the game changer leader for civil survival. I work in another sector, which is I'm also the reentry director within higher education at Highline College. And so that is about me, a little bit about me. Overcame my barriers. That's one of the most important things is overcoming barriers that are set in place, that systemic barriers as well. So we'll get into all that later, but just wanted to introduce myself and just thank you all for being here. And with that being said, I want to pass that over to my teammates to go ahead and do the, sorry, let me rewind because I'm missing a very important part. One of the things that we do here at Civil Survival and in our family, we always remind each other of how much we make a difference, how much we appreciate one another, and how much we need each other to grow and develop and to conquer, these systemic things that are in our place. So one thing that I do today, and I want you guys to follow me, you'll see everybody else, and we're gonna set the stage for you, okay? So one of the things that I know that I do is that I also work in harm reduction. I am a counselor. So with that being said, is that I give back by being able to meet folks where they're at, but not leaving them where they're at and helping them understand that there is a such thing as second chances. Do I make a difference? Yes, I make a difference. So with that being said, with that introduction, I want you, when you guys all come around, I want you to introduce yourself, tell me just a little bit about yourself, and then you're gonna tell me, do you make a difference? And after you say you make a difference, I need everybody to clap in unison. Let's just try it real quick. If we just say, if after somebody says, do you make a difference? We're gonna clap, right? So let's try it all together. I can hear and all that stuff. So here it goes. The cue is, and I make a difference. Clap. Yep. My people is with me already. Y'all ready to go. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. With that being said, we're going to start with my sister, my friend, my confidant, my in the struggle doing this, with my sister, Kelly Olsen. Please introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us, Kelly, how you make a difference, and then we're going to celebrate you.
Hi, everyone. It's always hard to follow, Michele. But I am the policy manager with the Civil Survival Project, and I work really closely with the legislative efforts. And, I myself am formerly incarcerated, and it took me a good decade to be able to find my voice and to recognize how important it is to use my story and use my voice to make a difference. So one of the things that I am proud of is that I now can tell my story without crying regularly. Still happens, but I'm much better about it, and I make a difference.
Yeah, you do.
You guys hear that? The bold statement, right? The bold statement, I make a difference, and then clap. That's our celebrating one another, because she said something that was huge. Yes, be aware. I make a difference. Roll it. Thank you all. You guys, I love interaction. Thank you, thank you. My brother, so Corey has a nickname, and I'm the only one, I think I call him Core Bear, because he's just amazing. He's just a bear, and I adore him, and I love him to death. So Core Bear, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name's Corey Walster, and I'm a formerly incarcerated person. I'm trying to type and rename myself as I'm talking so that y'all don't forget my name. But so I'm Corey. I've been working or volunteering with the Civil Survival Project since about 2016. But I'd been released for the last time in 2005. But I'm one thing I'm proud of is that I am a grandfather, and I have that opportunity to be a really positive influence on a person's life, and I'm really excited about that. And I make a difference. Oh, and by the way, so when we do this workshop in person, we're always really uncoordinated as well with the claps. But I think it might be even worse. There's a little bit more of a delay, or I don't know. But what I'm saying is, don't sweat it. It makes it more fun, and we're really grateful that you're all here and celebrating each other with us.
Thank you so much for that. And my brother, Christopher, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Christopher Johnston. I'm the Pierce County Game Changer Group leader. Something I'm proud of, a couple of things. One is I screened a documentary by Gilda Shepherd called Since I've Been Down at my last meeting. And gosh, it was just such a inspirational and educational and motivational documentary. Curious if anyone caught a chance to see that who's on this call. But so that was something I'm proud of, as well as I have a few people from my community who was released from prison, and I've been kind of spending time with them and kind of coaching them along, as they are re-entering into society and things. So I'm proud of those things, and I make a difference.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you, Chris. I love it. I love it. You guys are catching on to that clapping. It may be delayed, but I see y'all. You catching on. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the energy. Let's keep it flowing. So I'm going to go a little bit of a popcorn style just based on what I'm seeing on my screen. So is everybody clear on what we're doing? Your introductions, tell us a little bit about yourself, because you are now family and we like to get to know our family members. So we can invite you to the cookout, to the barbecue, to the picnic, whatever it is that we got going on. We want y'all to be a part of it. So with that being said, I'm going to pop off and I'm going to go to our family member, Sharon.
Thanks, Michele. I have worked in conflict resolution now for 13 years and am excited that, to be a part of this, and am standing up my own business, going through the certification process. I'm done with the VA, and now the state and the feds have told me I'm about 90% there. Yeah, woohoo. I am certified mediator, conflict coach, facilitator, stuff like that. And how is it crazy? I love it. I was married to a fella in the military that went to prison. So I have some lived experience as the wife of somebody who was incarcerated. That's a trip. And I make a difference because I really, really like to listen to people and really just be there with them while they're going through really difficult times and share useful information. I really love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. You guys are on top of it. See, I love this. So you guys will see me like throughout this, you will see emojis come up. I love the emojis, and I promise you, emojis just kind of reflect who I am as an individual. So some of them are funny, and some of them, my favorite one is this one, especially when you're talking about systemic, oppression. I'm like, so those are my favorite emojis. So thank you guys. So you can always feel free to use the emoji for your copying or whatever. And next I have Jennifer.
Hi, I work as a certified peer counselor with formerly incarcerated people. So I'm very excited to be here, and I make a difference that way. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much, Jennifer. I love that. I was like, ooh. All right, and we have our family member, Christy. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Christy, trying to follow Kelly's suit without crying, but I don't think I probably do it. But I was like, oh God, no. So I've been involved with the criminal justice system for the past 25 years with a loved one, my son's father. So I've just witnessed the discrimination and oppression from the police, the prosecuting attorney, the prison system. Here I go crying. Prison system, the re-entry barriers when there was no re-entry, the trauma that our loved ones when they come out of prison, the PTSD, and my loved one's been since 2020 back involved. So I just recently experienced all this again, and really through the eyes of now I'm for the last 18 years I've been a social worker and working with children. So I have that, my master's in social worker, and I'm licensed, but I'm not saying that, just through the eyes of advocacy and oppression and marginalization is completely different than when I was 20 years old, you know, when my son was a baby, and also the effects of incarceration and how that affects children, not having, you know, fathers or mothers. And I think what I'm most proud of right now is supporting my loved one every day for the last, since March of 21, or no, April. That is what I'm most proud of, because that is really difficult when you have untreated mental health and substance use and trying to have a loved one survive, you know, just survive on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I'm most proud of right now.
Do you make a difference?
And I make a difference. That was the I make a difference. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And y'all, it's please. Sometimes we need to always remind ourselves. So when you guys say I make a difference, I need that thing to come from the bottom of your gut. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I need that to come from your place of truth. I make a difference. See the difference? Yeah,
I make a difference.
Don't make me tear up this computer on you, Christy, because I will. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Indeed. Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. And I want to also acknowledge that you all, that this is we have created this space. As we know, we have our own sets of, you know, trauma that we deal with, right? So when you share here, I want you to know that this is a safe space that we have created for folks to be vulnerable, to be transparent. And we always say what's learned here goes out there. What's shared here, that's personal experience to us, that stays with us. If you choose to share somebody's story or experience, please share without using their name or ask their permission. We all on the same page? Thank you. With that being said, yes, I get excited about, I look forward to workshops. I look forward to the game changers, because I'm like, it's not just me that's going through this. There's other supporters that I don't know about and who's going through this. And so I get super excited when we organize and we come together. I'm just like, oh my gosh, all over the place. Sorry. With that being said, my brother, family member, Aruna, always good to see you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Aruna. Formerly incarcerated many times with the jail, way too many times. And one thing about me really is I'm happy, easygoing guy, right? But everybody forgets about that when you've been in jail a bunch of times. And a lot of it was due to mental health issues. So I'm here to make a difference for myself now. 29 years old, and I'm really understanding that all those times I went to jail in those 20s to 18 to a little bit ago, it's really hitting me now. And then I want to make a difference for the people in the future who are similar to me. So I make a difference.
Yes, you do. I heard that. I heard that whole tone change. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for when you go to do, you know, introduce yourself. But when you get to that statement, I need the whole tone to change. If you live in an apartment, I need to shake the walls. You live in a house, I need the dogs to start barking because they don't know what's going on. I need the dogs to know that they make a difference too. I need everybody to know that they make a difference. So thank you. Our family member, Wendy, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Wendy. I'm a retired pediatric nurse in the clinic setting. My goal is to be able to talk to a legislator without crying, or my son is currently incarcerated at Shelton, been there a couple years and has many more to go. Be able to tell my story, to get my daughter, ex-daughter-in-law, so I could see the grandkids. Just whatever I could do. So it's difficult. So I guess I make a difference. And you froze it.
Sorry, thank you, Wendy. I had to get the area that I'm in. I'm going to apologize in advance that my internet can get choppy when the wind blows very hard, or when it's raining. My internet will get choppy a little bit. So thank you, Wendy. We appreciate you. Our family member, Mark. How you doing today?
Did you say Mark? Oh,
Mr. Mark, family member, Mark T.
so that would be me. So I am proud that I can take care of my dad, who is formerly incarcerated, and he needed my help, and he still does need my help. And I'm very proud to be a caregiver for him, and do things like make sure he gets to his parole officer meetings, and figure out whether he can go to Denny's or not, with some of the restrictions that are being placed on him. I've never cared for a child before, and now I get to care for someone who's not a child, but who mentally is declining, and that is an important, the roles are reversed now, and suddenly I'm in a role that is making me very proud, and being able to tell this story to my legislators is an important part of this, because if I don't do it, no one else will. And for that, I'm going to make a difference.
However, but he was Mark T, my friend, family member, Mark T. I know you are making a difference, and I feel that you are making a difference, and I appreciate you. But I need that thing to just come from your gut a little bit. I need you to I just need that.
Oh, okay. So it's not just enough to plan to make a difference. I do make a difference, even today.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely, because you are making a difference not only for yourself, but for your father and for those who are watching the work that you're going to be doing. So yes, thank you.
I promise you, Michele, I've got courage in my gut and strength in my heart that I just am very slow to bring it out.
That's all right. Look at you, all these folks on this call. You got family members supporting you. We come in droves, okay, Mark? All right. Thank you. Our family member, Mary, welcome.
Yeah, I'm Mary, and I'm here. I work with the library in Forks, actually, and we're working on starting a reentry program. And I also I'm not formally incarcerated, but I have relatives that were and are, and so I'm working with my boss on developing a reentry program for our library, and I know that we make a difference.
Woo! I'm sorry. Sometimes I just have to pause for a whole minute to process all of this amazing behind the scenes work that we don't know that's taking place. And for folks to show up on the level of reentry and said, despite it all, despite the stigmas, the labels, the barriers, I support this work. It needs to be changed. There needs to be some reform. And out of all places, starting a reentry program in the library, you telling me y'all about to be educating some folks in the library where all the information is held? Come on,
There are
Mary.
actually, there's lots of libraries that have reentry programs. We're a little bit behind the ball. We're a smaller system. So we're hoping this started with the registering to vote thing. And then when my boss and I were meeting, I said, you know, I think this registering to vote is great, but I think when people come out, that is not the first thing on their mind. And he said, no, it's housing. He's a former prison librarian. So I'm catching up. This is like, I want to do this, but there's so much for me to learn. And my boss is directing me because he knows all this stuff. And so I'm really excited to see what can we do in the rural setting that we're in, and we'll see.
Yes, thank you. Quick question for you, Mary. Was it more than just your voice, or was it a collective voice for you all to be able to get this reentry program at your library going?
Well, I guess I was vaguely aware of the law. No, it didn't start with me. It started with our director, and he said, hey, we've got this new law and we need to do something, you know. And I said, you know, they always think do something means like put a link on the website. And I said, as I always do when they have these links on the website, I said, people don't need a link on the website. They need help. It's really hard to register to vote. I had trouble registering to vote in this state, and I don't even have this background. Between getting an ID and registering, I had to go back and forth between the county and the DMV like 3 or 4 times. And that was pre-pandemic. So I was like, anytime we tell people they're going to do something online, they need help doing it. And then Troy, he's my boss, he backed me up. And then our boss said, well, we need a committee. And then he volunteered us. And it's great because we work together. So our system is countywide. It just so happens that Troy and I work together in Forks. So I'm just pretty excited about it. But it's like I say, it's overwhelming learning for me at this point.
I love it. That's super amazing. Great job. So with that being said, because I think we all agree that this is very amazing and the opportunity and the space that you all created. So with that being said, Mary, I don't know how to tell you this, Mary, but on behalf of yourself, you are representing those folks who are on that committee with you in reentry. So I'm gonna need a collective voice, and you let us know that you all are making a difference. So you and your colleagues' voices in one. You all make a difference? I need you to say it.
We make a difference.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, thank you. All my family members, Stan's Dream. Oh, Stan's Dream. I love that. My brother Stan, family member Stan. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing okay. I'm over in Maine, so I'm about 3 hours ahead of y'all. So it's a little lag into time, but it's doing pretty good. I've been working with Project Survival, dealing with a few things that happened in 05. So we've been kind of hitting a ping pong ball between Project Survival and the courthouse, trying to get some stuff signed away so I can get these things behind me. But yeah, pretty much I just been dealing with for about 20 years now. I'm trying to join a SARS team up here in Maine. They pretty much go out into the wilderness to do search and recovery operations. And I have an extensive background in that before 05. And after 05, it's just been a kind of a chaotic nightmare because I can't do a lot of volunteer things because of it. And unfortunately, under federal, I couldn't do it. And once this is kind of behind me, then I would probably be able to pursue what I really want to do. So I've been working with, I guess, Julie, when I first started hearing about this from the Kitsap County Courthouse. But I've been kind of sending words back and forth between me and Cody. And now I'm dealing with one of your attorneys there. But it seems to be going in a positive manner for me at the moment. It's a little slow, but it's getting there. I'm trying to be patient, but it's getting a lot better than it was. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm hoping that everything will change and everything will be eventually discharged and vacated, and I'll be able to help somebody else and pretty much make a change where nobody really thinks about it. Like a lot of people get lost in Maine quite a bit, and that's kind of where I want to fit in at. And it's not about anything else. I'm just trying to do what I enjoy doing and trying to help somebody else. So that's how I'm going to make a difference.
That's how you're going to make a difference, or is that how you're currently making a difference, Stan?
I'm hoping that will pretty much kind of opened up a lot more doors. I mean, I would love to see this program in a lot of the states. It is from my understanding and research and all that, I would really love to see that in a lot of the states where there's more complicated. Like for instance, I'm from state of Texas. They have probably the most intensive law when it comes to people who felons and incarcerated. As with the Maine, Texas, a lot of states are way behind understanding. Pretty much what I have learned going through all this right here is that the justice system really is not there for us. It's pretty much try to keep us at a point where we have to go back. So I'm fortunate because when I got out in 2005, I just kept pushing and marching forward, even though I knew it was going to keep haunting me. And it's been kind of a challenge at times, but on the same that I'm still here and I'm 42. So I'm working on it. So I'm hoping that
for that. So I'm blessed and I make a difference. Yes.
Yes. Well, that is amazing. That is amazing. I'm super excited that you're doing that work over there. I actually went over there and pitched the reentry proposal to Olympic College a few years back when they didn't have a reentry navigator. And Andre Henderson, our civil survival family member, left a very great impression about reentry over on those folks over there. So I'm excited to see that that's off the ground and that's getting, that you're a part of that. So thank you. And yes, man, you make a difference in a major way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Our family member, Michele M. Hey, family, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I didn't have time to get. I got my lavender wig. Yeah, I always wore that when I went into Kitsap Superior Courthouse just to make sure if there was any need to review the video. You know who I am. So just, yeah, trying to have fun with it the best I can, because otherwise you are just a puddle on the floor, reeling in tears and fear. So awesome to be here tonight. So thank you. Glad that we're going over past the IIBF because that's always a fun quarterly meeting to attend. And Mel, I didn't know if you could drop your email in the chat. Currently, I'm working with a justice impacted individual who is going home on electronic home monitoring. And true to form, everything's outdated. Information that should be known by like the community custody officer, the electronic home monitoring individual whose sole job it is to pick the people that go out on electronic home monitoring. They are not really informed of what is needed. So that's something. I currently am one of the community outreach directors with Unchained for Change. And so walking through this reentry program with the justice impacted individual has been very enlightening on where many of the shortfalls are, especially in Snohomish County. So anybody that is smarter than me, I used to say I'm not smarter than a fifth grader. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I changed that to I'm not smarter than a kindergartner when it comes to this stuff. So I like to surround myself with people that are more educated in this. And that's about it. I'm still over here in this brain going over where did the $5 million go for the IIBF last year? But they assured me they'll get me the last 5 years of trust accounting. So we'll see. Thank you.
Thank you. And Michele, I'll need one thing from you.
Yes, one thing. What do you need from
me? The
me?
loudest thing that I want you to say.
Oh.
I know what it is.
Oh, I make a difference.
Thank you. Yes. I appreciate you. I enjoyed you, Michele. Our family member, Mr. Benjamin, how you doing this evening?
Good. I'm Ben Schrader. I am a formerly incarcerated person. trying not to be incarcerated by my past. It follows you wherever you go. That's a problem. I need to clean up my past, even though I'm free and clear from actually having done anything wrong for quite a long time now. It's still out there and it still follows me, and that prompted my interest in the Civil Survival Project. And I certainly I've learned coping skills myself, how to make a skills-based resume that hides gaps in, like, when you're not around, for gaps of period of time. So I got pretty good at doing that for myself, and I started doing this for other people. So I've been helping people actually for a long time, and then I discovered that there's actually a job called a peer counselor. So I became a certified peer counselor, and I work, well, currently I'm working for Chief Seattle Club, and technically I'm an advocate. I'm not technically a peer counselor, but I guess whenever you're working with people, and there's a lot of formerly incarcerated people staying at the place where I'm working, and so I've been working with a lot of people that are facing these same obstacles, and so I've been doing everything I can do to help anyway. And I guess that means that I matter. Is that the right words? Yes.
They weren't the right words, but honey, they mean the same thing. Yes.
Yeah, and I'd like obviously to do a lot more. I'm actually quite interested in doing a lot more. I do have some legal skills. I have filed some of my own lawsuits and so forth, successfully at times. And so I do have a legal background. I love to use it for all the right reasons. So, yep. So that's something I'd like to explore. So.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're family in another way too after that, because we're family civil survival. So once you come here, you show up and you tell us a little bit about your story, your family. There's no way around it. Everybody's family. However, you can choose to leave the family at any time, but we're gonna come looking for you to snatch you right back. I'm just saying, that's how we roll. Okay, we will snatch you back. Ask Aruna, he's on this call. Right, Aruna, won't we snatch you back?
It will. This is where it starts, right here. No joke, it will.
Yes, we come looking for ours. No one left behind. So, but just adding to that, Ben, I'm very familiar with y'all in the work that you all do, just because out of your housing program that you guys are one time rolling. So I am a supervisor, site manager for the coding program. So we have a lot of your clients currently with us. So that's kind of awesome. Thank you. Our family member, Bethany, what's up, family?
Hi, I just got home and I have a new puppy, and he was in the crate for the second day for 8 hours, so he's bouncing off the walls. I am a family member. My husband was incarcerated 2 years ago, and it was a complete shock. And then since he's gotten in the system, we were just barely getting in when COVID. So I basically just have a picture of the prison and COVID and just hitting one wall after another and no answers, and this person will know. So I've jumped in where I could with the family councils. I see a lot of people I know from the ombuds and statewide family council. And I'm just trying to see what I can do to be able to help my husband and I, and provide information to a lot of other incarcerated that come to him because they see my name on all the calls and ask for advice. So trying to find some resources to pass on. Oh, and I make a difference.
Yes, yes. Woo, I'll be looking for that thing, I promise you. Anytime when y'all say I make a difference, I don't know if y'all know, but energy is transferable. So I'm getting all this I make a difference energy because then it's just like I'm taking this energy. I'm like, yes, yes, there's a bunch of us that's out here that's making a difference. We need to own that. We don't need nobody else's validation. We need to own that. Come on, y'all. My family members, my brothers, parents, how you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing well, Michele. Thank you for calling on me. My name is Paris Miller. Recently made a senior, so you know I'm a this new term senior and being a senior citizen. But ultimately, you know, I'm formerly incarcerated. I just completed a 21-year sentence. It was absolutely wonderful to see one of my brothers that I was in the struggle with present earlier male. I've held a number of titles in the year and 3 months that I've got now. I'm an engineer by trade through correctional industries and came out, did an engineer for about 9 months with that, and recognizing that my legacy was important. Instead of investing into the legacy of somebody's business, what I'm passionate about is giving back to my community. The concept of, I make a difference. Absolutely. In the restorative justice model, unfortunately, I've had negative impacts on my community. So today I'm proud of what I've become in my struggles, in my growth, ultimately how I represent myself, my family, my legacy, and my community. I am currently holding the position of operations director for Freedom Project. And I'm grateful, I'm humbled by the opportunity to work alongside my brothers and sisters who have been in the struggle, and they understand. And now we're committed to challenging some of those systems that have been in place for decades, since the origin of the Constitution. And ultimately, we are tasked with representing folks that look like ourselves to make a change. I do make a difference.
Yes, you do, and thank you, thank you. If you need to, my brother, if you need to, turn your camera off so we're not distracted because I see that you're driving. But you're here and you're present, and we appreciate all the amazing work that you do. We're excited that we do support the Freedom Project. They're family to us. So yeah, we're gonna keep this going. I just want y'all to see this really quick, and I'm gonna speed this along. This is really quick. Do you see how many amazing folks that we have on this call? Do y'all see how much we have in common? Now, I don't want to toot civil survival's horn, but I am real quick. And I'm gonna toot it by saying we were all impacted in a certain type of way, right? Right. Whether it be ourselves directly, our colleagues, family members, friends, significant others, partners, spouses, whatever. I don't even care. Just we know that we were impacted. But when we all get together and have a conversation, do you see what we have done? Who ever thought the folks who were identified as formerly incarcerated, formerly justice involved, would be writing laws and changing them? I just had to lean in real quick. That's all that meant. I see y'all. Y'all ready to change some laws and some policies, huh? I love it. Let's get it. I see y'all. I'm done. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Thank you. That's what it is totally about. All right, I'm gonna move this right along because we got a little bit of time here. So with that being said, family member David, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is David. I'm a formerly impacted citizen. I served around 25 years. I know I make a difference because I'm a program manager for a nonprofit, Defy Ventures, where I teach formerly incarcerated men and women how to start businesses. And we're about to go into a couple of juvenile facilities too, so we can start it younger. I refuse to let my past define who I am or hold me back. That's who I am.
I know that's right. David, loud and proud.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You are very welcome. But are you loud and proud?
Oh, am I what?
Loud and proud.
Oh, I make a difference.
Oh, my people, yes.
Left that part out.
Yes, you're right. But that's the see, even if you leave the parts out, that's why you got a whole family on here to have your back. I already told y'all we don't leave nobody behind, okay? That's what we don't do around here. I don't know about the other parts, but around here we don't do that. Y'all don't heard that little saying when you hear people with little memes going on, they're like, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. We don't leave nobody behind.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Family member Lydia, thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me. I signed in late. I was with Michele and Bethany on the IIBF call. So it's very nice these few minutes here to just feel charged and not, Michele knows, Bethany knows. It was a difficult call. I have a grandson who's incarcerated at Stafford Creek. He's been there 2.5 years. Very much a surprise. Sorry, I have my dog here. And it's been very difficult trying to find resources, other people. And now that I'm finding them, it's difficult kind of learning things that are new, getting help, getting answers. So I'm trying to find my voice. I guess it's part of what we all say of, I make a difference. I intend to make a difference. And whenever I get really frustrated with trying to get information, I just picture him and where he's at and go, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to make a difference. I will say it loud and proud that I'm doing this for him. I love to see all the folks that are there, and you're going to peek in close, aren't you? Just to see everybody here, those have been impacted, the terms that are used, it's very reassuring to know that he won't have just us when he does get out. And I feel this community and I love it. Thank you.
Yes, that hit me. That hit me. It hit me with the, he done got all of us, not just us, all of us. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Michele Mason has her hand up really quick.
Oh, sorry,
So-
Michele, yes.
So in my purple wig, I like to coin a new phrase. I feel so frustrated when I hear individuals that have paid their debt to society continuously use incarceration in their title. So I have changed that. I don't like it. I don't like criminal history. It's a criminal resume. Just like nobody cares what I did at Claire's Pantry in 1984. It's not relevant to today. The other thing is it's justice impacted individual. And that could be on one side of the wall or the other, but just throwing that out there. And hopefully people start using that instead, because everybody's done with their time of incarceration. Now that it's only impacted them, and now many are able to make a positive change. So that's, I haven't trademarked it, but everybody can use it. I don't care for any royalties. Pay it forward.
Thank you so much for reminding us of change talk. It's just that, we do this like across the state, right? So sometimes when we go different places, Washington is very progressive. So is New York, when we talk about criminal justice reform. So it just depends on sometimes, you know, our audience who we're talking to. So we will always use different ones, like you said, formerly justice impacted, justice involved. So it just depends on the demographics sometimes. So we always want to be sensitive to the language that we use. But yes, we do use change talk, but thank you for highlighting that. So hopefully everybody was able to catch the tip, and then we'll actually apply that moving forward. Thank you, Michele. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. And I wasn't offended. I'm not offended by anything.
I know. We don't do that here.
Just making that clear. Some people, yeah, I offend a lot of people generally on a daily basis.
We appreciate positive change talk here. I don't know about the other side of the street, but here we appreciate it, value change talk. No worries. Thank you so much. Our family member, I don't want to say wrong. Is it Sonia?
It's Sonia.
Sonia. Okay. See, I'm just throwing it out there. Culturally, where I'm from New Orleans. We pronounce stuff the way it's spelled. I'm just saying.
I've been advised to add 2 A's in my name, but you know, never went that way. Hi everyone, my name's Sonia. I work with Impact, which is the team that's working on the Impact campaign for Since I've Been Down, the film that Christopher was just talking about. And we're trying to make it so that every time we screen the film, we also guide people towards resources to advocate for a more humane justice system. And that's why I'm just here to learn. Very proud to be associated with that film and to be here listening to all of you. And I make a difference.
Thank you so much for being here. Yes, we're going to be watching the film, as if some folks have not already. I know we're going to at another part of the capacity that I work in, and we're going to be watching it as a group. So I'm excited about that. So thank you for being here. Our family members, see names, you know, and sometimes, you know, there's hyphens and sometimes I get confused. So I'm just, with that being said, going forward, family member Kels, how you doing? You're muted, but we love you.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're fine. Look at that.
That's my
Our
daughter.
family member Junior.
She was listening for a minute, but she's busy. So hi everybody, I'm Shaina. That's how you say my name, Shaina. And I'm an alumni from the Washington Correctional Center for Women. And I served 3 years and 8 months there. And prior to that, I was arrested probably over 100 times. What I'm doing now is I just got a paid position with the Restorative Community Coalition. And funny thing is, I was their first client in 2009 for their housing program. So I utilized their services and I volunteered with them and then moved on and graduated from college 3 times, medical assisting, medical billing, all the medical stuff. But in the medical field, I realized ethically and morally, there's a lot of things I don't agree with. So COVID happened and I stayed home with my daughter. And now I'm waiting on my Washington State life and health insurance license through the commissioner's office, which I have had to fill out a 12-page application. That's enough. Get multiple letters, you know, character reference letters. And this has been 15 years, you know? And so please stop. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Say bye. There's the dog. Anyway.
Tell her she can introduce herself after you go.
Oh, you can say hi after I'm done. How about that? So right now what we're working on is our organization just started doing a podcast called the I Change Justice podcast. It's going to be airing next month. It'll be weekly. And so we're doing that, lots of recording, and we're also working on a documentary. So I am making a difference.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much. One thing that I'm gonna have to say is that I enjoy watching the foodie stuff on TikTok, right? I really do. And when you said there's just the little, never mind, I forgot what it said. This little saying that they say on TikTok when you say something like it's like the most amazing, fantastic thing. It's one word, but I forgot what it was. I was gonna say it, but never mind. So yes, you do make a difference. Thank you, and we appreciate you. So I'm gonna move forward just to get us so we don't, so we can delve into some of the educational pieces that we really have worked on. So moving forward, I'm gonna, the next person that we're gonna do is gonna be our family member, Daryl. And with that being said, so what I want you to do, Corey had put it in the chat, you're gonna introduce yourself, tell us one thing that you're proud of, I make a difference, and then we're gonna celebrate you. Just so that we can get into the meat of our stuff. I was like, at first I wasn't paying attention, and I'm so excited that more and more folks are joining our call. So I'm super excited to realize we have that many. I had to flip my screen to see what was going on. So welcome everybody and thank you. With that being said, our family member, Daryl.
My name's Daryl, formerly incarcerated. I'm proud that I went from prison to a business owner, and I make a difference.
Yes, just because Daryl did that, the TikTok saying is you understood the assignment. Yes, I love it. Thank you, my family member. Appreciate you. With that been going on, our family member, Julian, your name, introduction, one thing that you're proud of, and do you make a difference? Julian, I'm gonna give you the you're muted baton because I think you just won.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Welcome, family.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm all right. How you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
Well, my name is Julian Franco. I was recently incarcerated, and I'm trying to make a difference. And I'm currently in a class called Defy Ventures. It's an entrepreneur class. I want to start my own business, and that's my story. Did you want more?
I need that strong piece.
Okay. Well, what do you
that,
want?
that one phrase that you said from the bottom of the gut.
I forgot it. Because I just really turned it on.
Okay, on a count of three, everybody, we're gonna help our family member Julian, right? So on a count of three. 1, 2, 3.
I
make a difference. Yes! That's my family representing. Yes.
All right.
Yes. That was good. No worries, my brother. We're family. We're here to support you. Family member, Lee, welcome. Thank you for being on. Family member Lee may have had to step away because I know I've done that a couple times and some folks still know I'm on the call. But we'll come back to our family member Lee. Our family member, our brother Larry, welcome. Always good to see you, family.
Hello, how you doing, Michele?
Good, thank you, family. Good to see you.
Well, it's good to be here. It's good to see everybody participating today. My name is Larry Quintana. I'm a reentry navigator with the Tacoma Community College and the Washington State Department of Corrections. And one thing I'm proud of, well, I was just adding up. That was somebody else here earlier that said they got out in 2005. Well, that was the year I got out also. So, you know, congratulations to the other person that had stated that. But yeah, 16 years out, got in trouble. I got a 38-year sentence when I was 18 years old in the state of Colorado. From 98 to 2005 was my incarceration time. But I got out in 2005 and life has been a blessing ever since. And it's just great to be here and to listen to everybody share their experiences and their stories and help move this civil survival project ahead. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm trying to make a difference in this with everybody else here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, my family member Larry. We appreciate you. Family member Sandy, your name, one thing you're proud of. Do you make a difference? And say it loud.
I believe Sandy posted that she was having trouble with her video and audio tonight.
Okay, Sandy, if you can hear us, family member, if you would go ahead and just drop in the chat your name, talk about yourself, one thing you're proud of, and then you can just hit us with the I make a difference with exclamation, exclamation, exclamation mark. That let us know that you screamed it loud and proud. So thank you.
Sandy works with the Living Stones prison ministry.
All right. Yes. Livingstone Prison Ministry. For anyone who didn't hear that. Thank you. Family member Rocio.
Hi, Michelle. My name's Tricia Lopez. I'm from Mount Vernon, Washington. I'm advocating for one of the most closest people to me, Abraham Villalobos. He's currently incarcerated and looks to be getting out within the next month, thanks to the bills that were recently passed. I have been the only, I can honestly say this, and I don't mean to sound conceited, but I am the only one that has made a difference in his life right now and in my county. I told off the prosecutor, the public defenders got tired of hearing my voice. County commissioners were wondering why I was calling them every day. So I've really shaken up the county and the work in the criminal justice system here. I yelled at the judge one time because I found out 2 inmates passed away there. So I've made a lot of change in the community. Abraham has never had anybody fight this hard for him. And so I am learning about the criminal justice system from his point of view. And I'm trying to find resources for him. He wants to work with kids when he gets out. He said that I'm the only one that has made a difference in his life and that nobody has ever fought for him the way that I have fought for him. So, which was the biggest compliment forever. And I was just like, it almost made me cry. So I was like, dude, seriously, you just not tell me that. He's like, yeah, he was like, nobody has fought for me the way you have. And this was just for a DUI felony. He was clean for 12 years. And then he got convicted. They were trying to give him 10 years and they gave him 3, 1 year in DOC for a recovery program. And now he's going to end up doing the recovery program outside DOC. So we're working together on getting himself together once he gets out. Recovery and counseling and meeting his family, which I'm very scared about. So that's what I know for sure, is that I'm the one that's made the difference in not just his life, but in my community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rocio. And the reason why I'm not going to ask you to say a lot of times because I sat here and I'm an active listener. You said I make a difference 5 times. That warrants one big one.
Yeah,
so,
I can take that credit. I can honestly tell you, I can take the credit because his family hasn't done anything. They've been doing whatever they do. Okay, I try not to judge, but they haven't been as active as they should have been. So, I mean, whatever. That's their family issue. Whatever happened, has nothing to do with me. Abraham's my focus. Advocating for him is what's important. And he said, you have scared the shit out of people. And I have never seen that happen before. He said, when he was at the county, he said, I mentioned your name and everybody walks away.
I love it.
So I called the jail and the lady said, I barely said hello. She goes, this is Rocio Lopez, isn't this? And I said, yes, it is. She goes, I heard all about you. What is it that you need? I said, I need Abraham out. And so she's like,
I love that. Okay, thank you. I love that. Because
I am a short little girl, Michelle. I am 5'2". I'm a chunky little girl. Okay, I got baby face and everything, and everybody saw this little Mexican girl walking in there with a paper with a speech, and the judge is like looking at me, and the prosecutor's looking at me, and I'm like, I know that 2 inmates have died in your jail. I said, if anything happens to Abraham, I said, I'm going to make it known to this county and to this state, and there's going to be a lawsuit against you and your county jail. And he said, I will not let that get to that point. I said, it better not. And the prosecutor, if you really heard the whole story, if I had time to tell the whole story, you'd be like, dang.
That's okay, because we're going to get to hear the story because you're going to you all are family, and you're all invited to attend our game changer group. So we'll talk about that later. So that is a space where we hold to tell our stories and share for support and things like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that. But I love when an advocate can clear the room. Thank you.
I did, Michelle, and everybody still looks at me. They still look at me really weird. I'm like, what? What?
That's all right. That's all right. You clear the room in a good way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Family member Crystal, name one thing you're proud of, and do you make a difference? And remember to say it loud.
I will try, but I am not feeling very well. My name is Crystal, and I work for Cowlitz-Wahkiakum Legal Aid. I have helped a few of the incarcerated individuals in Washington State when it comes to family law, custody, parenting plan, and things, because it is very difficult for them, of course, to do anything when they are in there. One thing that I am especially proud of is I work very closely with the Cowlitz Indian tribe, and am working to bring a ton of awareness to the missing, murdered Indigenous women that is everywhere and not getting enough attention. So I make a difference because I do that.
Make a, oh my gosh. Yeah, that word. I can't say it. Sorry.
No,
Thank you though.
Listen here. No, we all have inclusion needs, okay? So there's no need to be sorry here. This is why you have a family that will pick you up, will lift you up, and help you navigate this, okay? So just know that. So family, our family member, okay, Alexa said, I need some help with that. So family members on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I make a difference.
You make a
I
difference.
make a difference.
Hold on.
All of you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. With that being
Thank
said,
you.
our final family member, Rose, thank you. We appreciate you. Please introduce yourself, one thing that you're proud of, and I'll make a difference, and you have to say it loud and proud.
Oh, that's me. Okay. Hi. I actually am not in Washington. I'm in California, and I hope to be a law student next year. So I am trying to learn everything I can about what's out there, and make connections and everything. And thank you all for being here, and very grateful.
We're grateful for you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'm sorry, Rose. I love you, Kelly, but I'm sorry. You saw me kind of looking for something. I was looking for your difference. Can you give me that, please?
Sorry?
I was looking for your difference, and I don't know where I can't find it. I was looking for it. So can you let me know? One of the things we talked about is, the statement that we always make and be intentional about is saying, I make a difference, and you said that loud and proud. And so you didn't say yours, so I went looking for it, baby. So can you just give me that so that we can move on?
Oh, okay. My name is Rose, and I make a difference.
Yes, there it is. Because I was like, no, Rose, you ain't gonna do me like this and have me go looking for it, because I know you got it. Give it up, okay? Give it up. So yes, thank you so much, Rose. We appreciate you. Did I miss any of my family members that did not introduce themselves? If I did, I'm gonna give you, let's see, 3 seconds to unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Then something that you're proud of, and I make a difference, and we say that loud and proud. All right. So thank you, everybody. And it's just, we do that just so we can always, that's the way of kind of somewhat building rapport with our family members, kind of get to know each other in 2 minutes or less. But just knowing that we are a strength in numbers, and knowing that we all come with different skill sets, different talents, different lived experience. And so this is what it's about, right? Just being able, and networking, building those connections, because there's somebody who knows one thing, and knows one thing, and knows one thing. And then what we end up being is a resource, walking, talking, database support system for our folks. So thank you all for sharing and introducing yourselves. I'm excited to say that I know you all make a difference. So thank you, we appreciate you. With that being said, we are gonna bust out into our organizing key change. We're a little bit behind, so y'all bear with me. I am very interactive. I love interaction. I love knowledge. I love growing. I love learning from folks. So that's what we're gonna do next. So with that being said, Core Bears, can you share your screen for me, please? And if you guys do have the agenda, right?
Yeah, but also, if you want to click on that link there too.
That's what I'm trying to do. My mouse, the little electric mouse, it kind of, I'm like, don't go in that corner, come over here. Even for me. All right, so.
Am I sharing my screen?
Yes, thank you so much, Corbett. Okay, everybody can see Corbett's screen, right? Okay, cool. So with that being said, so the question here, this is what our key organizing things are. So it says, we're here, down there, we have on there, what are some significant organizing movements that have created change throughout history that you know of? So with that being said, it's kind of like, the little flip the card game, the memory card game. So this is a little game we're gonna play with it. So who can tell me? So you can unmute yourself and tell me what are some of the significant movements that have been created throughout history and how do they happen?
Michelle, I would say Cesar Chavez, the farm workers movement, and getting that started for the farm workers up in California, and that came up to Washington.
Ooh.
And that I continue to fight for farm worker rights, both foreign and domestic farm workers.
Absolutely. Farmers' rights, significant, yes.
I also, before we get too far, I wanted to uplift that you all can click on that link and you can add your own to the Post-its. It's an interactive document.
Yes. Thank you, Corbett, for sharing it. Rossi, okay, they got it. I see him coming in there. I see him popping in there. Gandhi's National, okay. Okay. A, yep.
And when this page gets full, if you click over on the side there, you can fill in the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Come on, y'all. There's been some significant organizing movements, national rights movements. Y'all have a whole list of them.
How about LGBTQ?
Oh, good one. Good one, good one.
Gay rights.
Civil rights movement.
Women's stuff. Okay, yep. Women's suffrage, yep. That's the suffrage movement, farmers' rights, the Southern National Congress, AIM.
Black Panthers.
Hey. Yes. Did we get that in the box? Or we want to put that in the box for you?
How about Black
okay.
Lives Matter?
Yep, absolutely.
NAACP.
I believe somebody mentioned the missing, murdered Indigenous women as well.
Come on.
MIPP.
Yes, somebody put that in the chat. I saw that. Yes.
MMIP.
Come on. Mm-hmm.
The Chicano movement.
It's MMIW, not P.
Yeah.
Yeah, MMIW.
What was it?
MMIW.
Perfect.
Got any more? Need it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know you got voting rights there, but there's also Native American voting rights, and they are distinct and separate.
Very true.
Issues.
Very true. But okay.
Yeah, the Chicano movement. The Chicano movement.
Very true. I see Standing Rock. My people is y'all is rocking with me. Fridays for Future. Okay. 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 I see y'all.
Mad. Yep.
I see y'all.
Here.
Let's see. Gay. These are my folks. Gay rights. The Me Too. Civil rights.
Disability rights.
Come on, y'all.
That's what I was just gonna write.
Let's not forget Martin Luther King, civil rights movement. That's a big one. Come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Of labor rights.
Come on. Underground Railroad.
If anybody knows how to spell Chicana, please add Chicana movement, please.
CHICANA or Chicanos with an O.
Right.
Yeah.
Backspace and put an O. Backspace, delete it and put an O instead of an A.
Yeah.
And then movement.
Dream Act. Yes. Occupy Wall Street. You guys got some good ones. OMG. I'm loving these.
How about justice reform?
The upper room. Yes.
Believe it or not, I believe it was 1917, either 1917 or 1919. In Boston, the police union went on strike.
And I would say the Bolt decision, 1974, the Bolt decision, which gave the Native Americans their fishing rights back.
Yep. I learned that in college.
ICWA, Indian Child Welfare Act, that finally was established in the 1970s.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Life-changing magic of tidying up. That was a dumb joke. It was about organizing.
Okay, gotcha. I see y'all. Okay.
About
a lot of collective voices there.
Land Restoration Act. Yes. Yes, yes. I see that.
How about citizenship for people of color, Blacks or Natives?
We have that. But yeah. All right, okay, 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 okay. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, these are a lot of movements. I'm just whoa, climate change. Shirtwaist fire, yep.
Wasn't that the name of the factory that all these people died in because the
Yep.
doors were chained shut?
Yep. Yep, like sweatshop law.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So you guys get it, right? Where we're at. So these are amazing, y'all. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So much. So we have those there. Man, okay. Thank you, Cora Bear, for sharing your screen with us. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Wait, we still have folks that are typing in. I want to give, okay. We can go back to it if we have time. No worries. Okay, so you guys get the idea? Those are all national movements, right? So who can tell me, again, this is very interactive, right? So who can tell, Michele, I love it. Michele, I love it. Who can
If you
tell
can't
me-
see it, there's a heart in the hand.
What's
Many
it?
colors. It's a each hand has a heart in it.
Oh, okay. I can't see it faintly, especially the
Oh,
yellow
I see
one.
it now.
I love it.
So
Thank
that
you.
for me represents each individual individual who is working for their loved ones.
I love
Giving
that.
them a hand up instead of a hand out.
I love that. If you put in the, drop in the chat how we can get those. I love that.
Where did I go? Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, so when we talk about national movements, how did those movements happen? What do they do? What steps did they take? Anybody know?
Because people got tired of being beat down all the time, so they all stood up as one, as unison, and was able to make a change in the future and the past. And if we do the same thing now, that will also affect the future as well. It's an ideal where somebody all get together instead of one voice, like we have been seeing over the past few years. That's how all these movements start.
People started talking. First and foremost, people started talking, having those conversations, seeing who's got interest, and building from there. Grassroots organization.
Believe we are part of that grassroots
Tell me about it.
process
Yes.
right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
It's the only way to go. Corporates can't do it for us. Corporations can't do it. It's all about grassroots.
Of course, if somebody were to start paying me to do it, then I would be a corporation.
It's always nice to be paid.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can write off all my in-kind donation work that I've been doing for the state for years now.
Okay, I love it. So, I think that's probably Rocio, because you know, Rocio, when you start talking, even though you may be 5'2", when you talk and when you say stuff, you lean in real quick. I hear you.
And I'm really shy. I'm really shy, believe it or not. And Abraham said, I haven't seen anybody get like that. And the prosecutor told him, this guy is useless. He's not worth it. He can't be rehabilitated. I stood there, my face was so red, and Abraham was looking at me because he is watching to see what I'm gonna do. He's eyes teary-eyed. I'm turning red. The prosecutor sees me glaring at her, and I just walk out. I couldn't even say anything because I knew if I said something, I would have gotten kicked out of that courtroom. And I told her, I told her flat out, don't you ever say that about my Abraham again. Don't you ever say anything about him again. I shook my head at her and then I smirked at her because I knew that this was going to be a long path with him, long journey. And I was going to be the one to get him through it. And this is where we're at. So.
Family, just real quick, if you ever need an advocate or if you need to get the point across, make sure y'all go grab Rocio. Don't go in there by yourself. Go grab Rocio.
I get on the prosecutor told the judge, she talks at every one of his court hearings. I said, yes, I am. I told her, I'm not gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be here every court hearing. I told the judge, I said, I don't know what you guys think. I said, I don't know if you think Abraham doesn't have anybody standing behind him. I said, and I sure as hell aren't stupid, and I'm not gonna let you drag him through the mud. And they were looking at me all crazy. And I was like, and the prosecutor kept looking at me all crazy. And I said, and I know 2 inmates died in my county. I said, in my county jail, 2 inmates have died because of medical neglect. Because Abraham has a hernia and they weren't doing anything. And I said, so this is on you. This is on your hands. I said, blood is on your hands if something happens to Abraham. So they were just like looking at me, and his lawyer was looking at me, the public defender was looking at me, and then I was like, oh shit. And then Abraham called me. He goes, Mija, and I said, what? He goes, dude, you scared me.
I love it. I love it. If you can catch up, Rocio, you will see in the chat section, read them. You are a whole vibe. And somebody said everyone needs a Rocio in their life. Somebody else says we need a Rocio t-shirt. Somebody else says we need to summon our inner Rocio.
Thank you.
We need a Rocio meme. Somebody, I need y'all on that. I need y'all to design a Rocio meme. We need that.
I would love that. But you know what? I did this all for Abraham in the beginning. Michelle, I will tell you this right now. He had a girlfriend when this started. Okay, and he's calling my ass saying, I need your help. And I said, no, you don't. You got a girlfriend. I said, let that girlfriend deal with your problems, right? I mean, it was big drama between me and him at the beginning. And I thought he was just kidding, right? I was like, he got pulled over, got drunk, whatever, pulled over. I laughing at him, right? I was laughing at him. I was like, whatever, Abraham.
See, I told y'all, Rocio literally clears the room.
And then it turned into he had a hernia. And I was like, what? He goes, it's not funny. Because I got a hernia. And I was like, okay. So then they weren't giving him any medical care. I said, okay, this is getting serious. And so he begged me for like 3 months to get involved because I wasn't going to get involved because I'm an activist, a political activist from around Skagit County. So everybody knows who I am. And I was like, well, what happened to your stupid girlfriend? And he's like, what? Why do you got to call her stupid? I said, because she is. I said, who's the one standing here right next to you? And he said, okay. But he goes, but I need your help. He goes, I really need your help. And then the next thing I know, he gave me all access to his files. He said, look at my files. If you don't think it's worth helping me, fine. But I want you to look at everything before you tell me no. I was like, oh shit. So I looked at it, I looked at the files, looked at everything. I paid for a second opinion on his case. I mean, and so I said, all right, Abraham, all right. And this is where it's led us. And it's like, I knew that the only person that could help me with this is you.
Yeah.
And I said, Abraham, I said, no. And he was like, you? He goes, you've made a difference. He goes, you're a fighter. He's like, you're not like other people. And I was like, Abraham, I'm just like everybody else, not like anything special. You don't think that. He goes, you don't see what we see.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, what? Do you think people fight for people like us every day? He goes, do you really think they're going to stand behind people like me? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I don't know. I said, but they're stupid to think that you're not going to have anybody behind you. I said, and he's like, well, do you know how many people come through here and they don't have anybody behind them?
Right, right.
Got quiet. I got quiet and I was like,
yeah,
and
that's the most important thing, right? Yeah. Is like you mentioned earlier, the very most important thing is first is getting the conversation going, right? Yeah. So when you guys are going back to all those movements that you all mentioned that impacted folks in their daily living, they're like, let's talk about it. Let's think about it. Let's go back. Rosa Parks is like, you know, I'm from the South. I'm from NOLA. You know, so I can just imagine Rosa Parks, you know, saying, getting home saying, baby, you know,
and I said, Sir Chavez,
you know how just soft that could be, and just that conversation, just that conversation, period. Whatever the issue was, it was somebody else is having that same experience. And then so what they did after Rosa told one person, then that other person went back and said, you know, have you had experience with this bus where they're making you ride in the back of the bus when the bus is full and some more stuff? They were like, okay. And then they start spreading the word within their community, right? Next thing you know, when we talk about Rosa Parks and riding a bus, because they start having these conversations, getting with members of other organizations, and being impacted by themselves, what movement came out of that? What they do to get their attention? I'm talking about Rosa Parks. What they do when it came to riding the bus?
They organized an action.
Yep. Anybody knows what that was?
It was a boycott.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Boycott. Hit them in the pocket.
There's a lot of walking and shoe leather was lost.
Absolutely.
They boycotted for over a year.
They boycotted to raise awareness, to make a difference, and to have that corny situation system change when it came to equality and equity and having the same rights as riding a freaking bus instead of walking the long way home. And like you said, shoes torn up, worn out the bottom and this stuff. But what do? They did that to raise awareness, to get their attention, to create change, right? So for us, this is what it's about. So when we talk about civil survival, how do we get here? How did those laws change? Kelly's going to talk about that a little bit later on, but we're talking about the organizing part. The organizing part is that what I love about it, and I like to call it this, I like to say it's good trouble. Good trouble is what we're doing. We're causing good trouble. We are raising awareness. We are having these conversations with our game changer groups and things like that. But it's to raise awareness about the impact that certain laws have on us, our family members, our friends, and this and that. And let me ask you a question. How much does it cost to organize?
Time.
I know.
Time.
Aruna asked me sweat. Yep, that's it. Any money associated with that? No money associated, right? No money was associated with having a conversation with folks. That's my point. So it costs nothing to organize, just a little bit of time, a little bit of commitment, maybe a little research, right? And having an ask. That's all it takes. All it takes.
And patience.
Absolutely. And patience. Yes. This does not happen overnight. This does not happen overnight. Just think about it. If it took 100 years to do institutional racism, you think it's gonna happen overnight to do it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, with that being said, now we understand the basic concept of what it requires to organize, to get a conversation going. And then it doesn't just stop there, right? That's just the beginning. There's always follow-up steps to organizing, but that's just the key to how to organize. Is to get the conversation started, get like-minded folks who are having the same challenges. Let's have a conversation, let's raise awareness and create some noise and be the voices for ourselves and the unheard. Cool. With that being said, let's bust out some barriers. We are a little bit behind time because I apologize because I was trying to take the time to get to know my family. So when I call y'all, ask up and say, hey, you know, what's for dinner? Y'all don't be like, I don't know you. No, we family. Don't forget about that. Yes. All right. So, Corberry, if you can for me, please, can you bust out the barrier screen for me?
All right, you should all see my screen, and I also put a link in the chat for you all to access it on your own. Help us out with adding the stuff to the Post-it notes, because I am a terrible speller.
So this is another one, y'all, that we do together. It says, what are the barriers that people with felony conviction face? So if you're anybody like Corey, Kelly, Christopher, and I, we had a lot of barriers that we had to overcome, and some of us are still overcoming them. So what do you believe that the barriers that people face?
There is a lot of barriers. It's probably too many to actually say, but the biggest thing is no matter what you have done, no matter how good you were before all this happened, once you're a felon, it's pretty much marked for life, no matter how you look at it. So you can say just about everything from the moment you are arrested and charged, that anything you plan on doing, such as buying a house, getting loans, getting a decent job, getting on with your life, that always comes back to background checks and looking into your past, see what kind of a person you are. Despite what you did before that, it's all about what you have done to get there. And that's the biggest problem that I'm seeing with a lot of these prosecutors and all these lawyers and judges. They never see the gray between the black and white. They think just one way or the other. There's always two sides to every story. Unfortunately, they only go by whatever size makes sense to them. So, for instance, when a person is arrested and there is a victim involved in that, the victim pretty much makes a statement. The one that supposedly did it, whether you did or not, they don't care. At that point, they already made their own decision. Once you are charged, it's pretty much going to block you from just about anything that makes being an American free. because everything has to go back to background checks and you're a felon. So when people hear the concept of felon, it doesn't matter what you did, doesn't matter how broad it is, you're just the lowest of the lowest. That's what I've always experienced every time that I've mentioned it.
Mhm.
Well, I can't type everything. I've been assisting with my loved one, going over his 20+ year criminal history or criminal resume, as I call it. So this right here, these are just 6 of the 10 motions that I'm having to prepare and file on my own to remove issues about him getting his driver's license. This binder is all the criminal ones going back to the 1990s, where I actually had to call out Kitsap because they were still collecting LFOs past the RCW statute. And it's crazy. This should have been done with his, as I call it, public pretender. So there's that. These are motions for certificate of discharge that DOC has not been preparing. So individuals can vacate their record of convictions, which is 5 years after you're released from the quasi-judicial powers of DOC for Class C felonies and 10 years for Class B felonies. And then you have to also order the state patrol background or criminal history check, because even though you get something vacated by the prosecuting attorney and it gets done through the court, now I don't know if it didn't get sent to the Washington State Patrol or if they just only updated 2 of the 5 that I got done. So it is no wonder people can't get back on their feet. But it is possible to do. In Snohomish County, through Snow Isle, I get $7 worth of free copies each week. So that's how I go on to the Washington Court portal, fill out the forms, print it out, and you can submit any of your motions via link through every single county, and it doesn't cost you anything monetarily wise. So it is possible, and more of us gathering together and sharing these things to help out each other is what's going to make the change and lower recidivism rates and give people the realization that, yeah, you are human. And I don't care what anyone told you while you were on the other side of the wall. You do matter. You are here for a purpose and not just to make commissions for correctional industries.
I'm hearing unnecessary systems that make things harder than they need to be. Anything else I should add?
Well, people thinking they have to pay an attorney to take care of these things.
Or lack of knowledge or lack of support, community support, who can actually understand. All right. I don't want to say understand the system, but know that inmates or prisoners who are coming back into society are our community. They are not strangers, that they are family, and that they are going to try and do right if they keep whatever their circumstances. But that we do have a responsibility to people who have re-enter society.
And also many of DOC's messages of, we don't want you to have community support. We want you to do it on your own, which I personally heard from my loved one's community custody officer. And I'm like, have you read any studies on recidivism? That's what needs to be done, is strengthening community ties and families, not telling somebody, nope, you got to do it on your own.
Right. Totally get it. So this is reviewing these real quick. So what you guys have identified is these barriers here for folks with felony convictions. You have said that fines is a barrier, background checks, labeled by their past, absolutely. Lack of community support, untreated trauma, being incarcerated, stigmatized, landlord discrimination, housing, your own self been in the way sometimes, professional conditioning, shame, job insecurity, untreated mental health issues, child support, coming home to family members who are constant or currently have substance use disorders, technology barriers, absolutely. Society biases, absolutely. Credit
Racism.
score, racism, absolutely. You guys are on it. No driver's license.
It also destroys family as well. I know that when I was arrested in 2003, all I remember is my infant son seeing me through the window of being arrested in a police car. And it's been nearly 17, 18 years. I have not heard from them since then. So it has a lot of effect on a lot of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry you experienced that. Our family member Stan, man. Stan, I just have to put a D on the end of Stan, only because we stand with you, Stan. That's all I'm saying. We're here with you. We are so here with you. Man. And I totally can relate because I was arrested 17 times, and at least 3 of those occasions, my children were with me. And so, and they're adults, they're all grown now, have families of their own, married, engaged, and things like that. But still, sometimes we have those conversations about what that day looked like when you're talking about on a wet, rainy night, driving to the local Starbucks, and then, the experience of being arrested in front of your children. I get it. So I can relate to that. With that being said, so now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention too that I haven't really told a whole lot of people. Once I was released from jail, and I think it was July, 6 months after I've been incarcerated, my ex-wife, who we had no contact order because of the courts, brought my son to come and see me at my new place of residence. And shortly after she showed up, her boyfriend showed up and started a big old fight. Once the police were called, you could pretty much figure out what happened next because there was no contact order in place, and because I was there, and despite if I was there, she was there, whatever, he was there, they started fighting, they showed up, and then I went away for 15 months and I was stuck in Forks, Washington for 15 months trying to figure what the hell went wrong. So it was pretty traumatizing on 2 different occasions that my son had to experience that.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. What's that? So does everybody see the barriers that folks with felony convictions face in trying to be in this system after being released or whatever, and they want you to reintegrate with all these barriers in your way? It wasn't as simple as they thought it was going to be. So with that being said, we've identified those. So at least we're on the right track now. We've talked about organizing. What does that look like? And then not only organizing, but once we get there, the barriers that we have to navigate again, because systemically it was designed that way. It's not broken. It's designed to work the way it's designed to work. So on that note, time check is now 6:56. So during this time, thank you, Corbett, for sharing that. Thank you to everybody who contributed to our little interactive post-it notes challenge there. So thank you for being aware. Thank you for staying engaged with us. We definitely appreciate it. It's about learning and growing together and getting out here, spreading the word and changing laws that are impacting us and our family members. So we're gonna, for those of you who desire to be on camera, that is cool. But as a family, as y'all know, sometimes during the holidays or whatever the occasion is, the birthday, here at Civil Survival, we gather for family photos. So if you would like to be in the family photo, please turn your cameras on. If not, your names will show. If you don't want your names on there, please let Corey know. And then I will say, we're going to give you a little bit of extra time here. So, Corbett, what do you think? You take a family photo and then take a what? Quick, let's see, 7, Kelly. Come back at 7:05.
Yeah, that sounds.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So, Corbett, are you going to take the family photo? You are.
I'm having some technical difficulties. If someone else, if Kelly or Chris or Michele can take the photo, it'd help me out.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So like I said, everybody, so if you desire to be in the family photo, and I will say this ahead of time, our family photos are always amazing. You will probably make our civil survival page. Just letting y'all know we do invite folks in the community. So sometimes we will use our family photos just so that folks can see that we are a family and we believe in change. And we just want them to come be a part of the family sometimes, you know. So with that being said, family photo, if you want to be in the family photo, turn your cameras on. If you do not, your names will show and that is perfectly okay. So on a count of 3, we're gonna take our family photo. Claire's gonna take that. You may also do so if you would like to. I'm gonna have our family photo and then just turn your cameras off and we'll go to break and then come back, like I said, at about 7:05. All right, Kels, on a count of 3, y'all get ready for the family photo. 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
Hey, got a few.
Yay! All right.
Now,
So, all
now
right,
do
family.
one with, wait, should we do one real quick with where we're all like looking close
Oh,
or?
yeah. Yes.
Go, Corey.
Good one. Look at Michelle. Michelle
Go,
is so
Corey.
ready. Namesake, you are so ready. I can't already because you are so ready. There you go. The namesake is a whole vibe. Oh, I love it. And the lavender, the purple. Yes, yes. That's a whole mood. All right. Okay, Kels, on the count of 3, you're all going to be like, I see you. So that's when, you know, it's work we do. We have to zoom in for real. So on the count of 3, y'all just zoom in with some eyes. So ready? 1, 2, and 3. Let's zoom in.
Perfect.
Yes, you guys are amazing. I appreciate you so much, and thank you for being willing participants in all my shenanigans. I love you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a break, grab your snack, get a bathroom break, water break, do what you gotta do, and we will see you back at 7:05, family.
Okay, I think I'll go ahead and welcome everybody back so that we can get started. It's always fun to follow Michele. She's such an amazing facilitator. And so I just have really enjoyed the time so far this evening. And what we're gonna finish up tonight with is just some really basic civics education. And I have a PowerPoint, so I'm gonna share the screen. And I won't, when I'm sharing my screen, I can't really see the chat or anybody. So if you have questions, just kind of give them a shout out. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Let me.
I'm the only one unmuted.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So we want to start off just a little bit describing the 2 major political parties, and just also want to give the disclaimer that Civil Survival is a nonprofit and a nonpartisan organization. So we don't support one party over the other, although there is one party that typically is a little bit easier for us to work with than the other party. So the 2 major parties are Democrats. Historically, they represent farmers, laborers, unions, religious and ethnic minorities. They typically advocate for social justice, affirmative action, a balanced budget, and a market economy with some government intervention, sometimes referred to as liberals or progressive. And I want to be careful and use the word sometimes because it's not always true. And there's, I'd say each person is kind of on a spectrum on these parties. Republicans typically believe in free market and individual achievement, kind of pull yourself up by the bootstraps type of attitude. They very much like to advocate for gun rights and military funding and do not like to fund any type of social services such as welfare. And they prefer for nonprofits and churches to kind of fill that gap if they feel there is a gap. They typically are socially conservative, typically oppose reproductive rights, immigration, marriage equality. Again, these are just typical, doesn't necessarily mean each person in this party follows this exactly. It's going to be on a spectrum for each of them. So we might have Democrats, we might talk about, we have, you know, very progressive ones, there may be moderate ones, and the same with Republicans. Just a little bit on national politics. Every state has 2 senators. So there are 100 senators in Washington, D.C. Again, this is on the federal level. And every state has a different number of representatives, which is determined by the population. And so currently there's 435 representatives in DC, and it changes depending on the census. And I don't know how many are following it, but we're currently going through a redistricting right now. And so I know there are 4 different options that have been put forward, and I haven't been following it super closely, so I can't necessarily speak to it. And then we also just have executive orders on here as another way that action can happen through an executive order, either by a president or a governor. So the structure of Washington's government is we have these 3 branches, which is the legislative branch, which is the branch that writes the laws, the executive branch, which enforces the laws, and then we also have the judicial branch, which interprets the law. In particular, we're looking here mostly at the legislative branch for wanting to change the laws. This is the makeup of our current government here in Washington. So, and we have 49 districts. Each district has 1 senator. So we have 49 senators. And then each district has two representatives that serve in the House of Representatives. So there are 98 of the representatives. Currently in the House of Representatives, a lot of times it's just shortened down to the House. We have 57 Democrats and 41 Republicans. What that means is the Democrats are the majority party, and they are the party that's in power. And then in the Senate, it is the same. We have 29 Democrats and 20 Republicans. So again, the Democrats hold the power, and that's really important in being able to pass any laws or anything like that, because when bills are introduced, it's the Democrats that get to decide what bills are going to be heard, what bills are going to move forward. They can just stop bills wherever they want, for the party in power can. And we have here in Washington, which sometimes is referred to as a trifecta, because we also have a Democratic governor. So the trifecta refers to when both the Senate and the House are the same party and the governor is the same party. It means that typically they will all be aligned and kind of the same values and the same policies that they want to see get passed. I will say that it's a pretty slim margin that we have here in Washington. And the other thing to keep in mind is that while the Democrats do hold the power, that, as I was saying earlier on, if you identify as a Democrat, it's usually on a spectrum of some sort. So there are definitely more moderate Democrats that are not as friendly to criminal justice issues versus some of the more progressive Democrats. So our legislative session, our state operates on a biennium, which is essentially a 2-year cycle. So 2021 was the beginning of a new biennium. And what that means is, well, first of all, the first year of the biennium is what's called a long session, which is 105 days. And then the second year of the biennium is a short session, which is 60 days. And in the long sessions, that's when the new budgets are introduced. And then in the short session, it's typically, there's not a brand new budget. However, there's a supplemental budget that is looked at and passed. And one of the things that's important with the biennium is that if bills are introduced in the first year of the biennium and they're not passed into law in the first year of that, they carry over to the next year and can be picked up wherever they are left off. So this year in 2021, it was a long session. And any of the bills that did not pass in the 2021 session can be picked up exactly where they were left off. And new bills can be introduced as well. So we kind of like to talk a little bit about, why would, also when a bill is introduced, it's typically called dropping a bill. There's this hopper thing that the bills have to be officially dropped in, which is often why it's called dropping a bill. But the reasons why we might drop a bill is if to address a problem. So there's an issue going on, and a bill can provide a solution to that problem. Sometimes it's just to raise a conversation. So a bill might get introduced and the legislator and even the people backing the bill might know that this bill is not going to pass this year, but sometimes it's introduced just to start that conversation. And what that can also do is tell you what type of opposition you have against this bill, and how you might prepare for it better in the next year. And another reason to bring something forward is just if you are a legislator and this is something your constituents really, really want, they might drop a bill for that reason. So prior to dropping a bill, it's really important to do some research around the topic. It can help to look at, what's already being done currently. It can be helpful to look at what's going on around the country and see, one, if you can copy a similar bill in another state. You can use the law in another state to say, hey, Ohio is doing this or Texas is doing this, and they've not had any problems. And so it can be a way to just help kind of bolster your argument. The other really important thing to do is some stakeholder work. So when you're thinking about the bill, who is this bill going to be impacted by? And I think that's one of the important things about civil survival is that we get involved and we're part of the stakeholder conversations. So you don't want to have a bill and not have contacted your stakeholders. It's usually people who are doing the work, who have lived experience, that have the most valuable information. And so you want to engage with your stakeholders, one, so that you have the best bill possible, but also to get as much support for your bill as you can. So that's also part, and so that's part of what you want to do in that last bullet there is identify who your supporters are and also who your opposition is. So it's very important to know who's opposing the bills that you've gone through. So an example on some of the bills that we have worked on, in particular the voting rights bill, and we've got some other bills going on. But one of our supporters has been some of the organizations that represent victims or survivors. Because a lot of times the opposition to our bills, they'll say, well, what about the victims? What about the victims? And so we've built relationships with a lot of these survivor organizations. And in reality, when the other side uses this opposition, this argument around the victims, it's important to remember that they're not speaking for all survivors, right? Most of us who've been in the criminal justice system also identify as a survivor and have experienced trauma. I myself have. And so I find it really frustrating to have them use that as a reason to deny justice to the rest of us when they're not speaking for everybody. So sometimes you might have to, once you get either the opposition or your supporters, you might have to rewrite that bill to be more inclusive or to address issues that you weren't sure about. Okay, so this slide's a little bit longer, but this is really how a bill becomes a law. So the bills, first of all, must be introduced by a senator or a representative. Nobody else can introduce a bill. However, the government or the governor or agencies can request bills. So sometimes there are bills that are like requested by the governor or requested by the agency. One example of that, last year there was a bill regarding earned release, and that was, now I'm trying to remember if it was a governor requested bill or a DOC requested bill, but it was requested. So when you have an agency or the governor wanting a bill, they cannot introduce that themselves. They have to get a senator or a representative to introduce that bill. And then, as I was saying, the important thing about the parties and who is in charge is whoever is in power is the one who gets to decide what bills are going to be heard. So where it gets heard first, so we call it the House of Origin, which can be either the Senate or the House. But it gets introduced, there's what's called a first reading, and then the bill will get referred to a public policy committee. So oftentimes a lot of our bills might be heard in public safety or judiciary, civil rights and judiciary. It just depends on the bill. Once it goes to the policy committee, there will be a hearing, and there will be opportunity for people to testify. There will be typically experts that will testify, academics, and people with lived experience. Anybody can sign up to testify in the hearing. And a lot of times when you're working with a coalition, there's some strategy around you don't want to have like 100 people sign up to testify and everybody only get 30 seconds. So there is sometimes some strategy around that. However, anybody can sign up to testify. Once it passes the policy committee, it's moved into the fiscal committee. In the House, the fiscal committee is called Appropriations Committee. And then in the Senate, it's the Ways and Means. And those two fiscal committees are the ones who also pass the budget. I'm going to back up for just a second. It only goes to the fiscal committee if there's a financial or a fiscal impact. So sometimes there are bills that have no fiscal impact. A good example of that is the voting rights bill that we worked on. And we were working on it, and we really wanted it to go into effect, right after the governor signed it, and the amount of time before the bill becomes alive. However, the auditors told us that they pre-print their envelopes and some of their materials, and due to the change in the law, the auditors were going to have to reorder all of their materials. And then there would be a fiscal impact on that bill. However, if we adjusted the start date of our bill to January 1st, 2022, it meant that the bill would not have a fiscal note and could bypass the fiscal committee. So anytime you can bypass the fiscal committee, it can be a little bit easier to get something passed. Once it gets moved from the fiscal committee, it goes into what's called the Rules Committee to get pulled to the floor. And then once it's pulled to the floor, it'll be debated on the floor. And so again, whatever party is in power is the one who decides at the very beginning. They can decide in the policy committee, we're not going to even give this bill a hearing. So it's just going to die right there. So the other side can introduce all the bills they want, but if the chair of the policy committee isn't willing to even give it a hearing, it's not going to go anywhere. And sometimes they'll drop bills knowing it's not going to go anywhere. They just drop them anyways. Once it passes on the floor, it has to go through that same process on the other side. So that means that, again, it goes through the exact same process, but the other side has to hear it in their policy committee, they have to hear it in their fiscal committee, and they have to debate it on the floor. And so the next part that happens is if the other side passes the bill exactly as is, then it's just going to go straight to the governor. However, if the other side adds some amendments and things like that, which are things that are going to change the law, then it has to go back to the other house and they have to have a conference committee. So it gives them the opportunity to agree to what the other side of the house, however they amended it. So once they come to agreement, whether or not they had to have a conference committee or whether or not could just come into the to the governor. So the governor may sign it into law. He may veto all of the bill or any section of it. So sometimes the governor might go through and just line items parts of the bill, but pass the rest of it. And if the governor, and then the legislature can override by a 2/3 vote of both houses, the governor's veto. And if the governor does not sign the bill, if he fails to act, then the bill just becomes a law without the governor's signature on it. So the bills can, oftentimes the bills are referred to as they died. So some people say it died in the policy committee or it died in the fiscal committee. We had a bill for legal financial obligations that we were working on last year, and it made it through the policy committee, but it died in the fiscal committee and the appropriations committee in the House. So we will be picking those bills back up where they were left off. There are specific cutoff dates that are really important. And so it depends on in the session when they actually are, but there will be a date that all bills have to get out of the policy committee by X date. Then they have to be out of the fiscal committee by X date, and then they have to be heard on the floor by a certain date. And if they miss those dates, then they're considered dead bills. However, there's always exceptions. So there are bills that are considered, the acronym is NTIB, which is necessary to implement the budget. So if there was a bill that, especially if it was an agency requested bill and it's going to affect the budget in some way, even if the bill did not make those cutoffs, it can still be brought back to life. So only about 1 in 5 bills become a law. Let's see, I'll go to the next one. So the next one is really just kind of a picture of the linear process of what this looks like. There's a lot of information on there and it's hard to see. But again, this just kind of outlines that the bill gets introduced. It goes through the committees, it goes to the rules, and then once it's passed, it goes on to the other side. So in this particular example, the bill is being introduced in the Senate, it gets heard there, and then it moves on to the House of Representatives. However, once you start to get involved in the legislature and see how things work, it doesn't really work quite linear like this in a nice orderly fashion. It looks a little more like this. So it definitely gets pretty messy, and it can be hard to track and hard to follow, and it moves really fast, especially considering in a long session, you only have 105 days, and this next session in 2022, we're only going to have 60 days. So we're going to talk a little bit about money in politics. Unfortunately, money very much influences the political process, and it can be really powerful to look at your elected officials and see who's supporting them financially. They have to do all of those disclosures. The kind of example is on here around GEO and CCA. And this number is probably, it's going to be higher than this now, but they put a lot of money into the legislation because essentially they profit off people in prison. Even though our prisons here are ran by the state, there are a lot of contracts and a lot of people that still profit off of the prisons. So, and I don't know how many people watched, but GEO or saw it, but GEO was just fined $6 million for their unfair practices. Let's see. And so a lot of times the people who are supporting these politicians are the people who are making money off of the prisons, right? It pads their bank accounts when there is tough on crime bills. So they were very strong supporters of any type of bill that increases incarceration. They stood behind the 3 strikes laws, anti-immigration laws, and the war on drugs. Again, the more people who are incarcerated, the more people are able to profit off of them. Citizens United was a very important decision because it allowed corporations to essentially spend unlimited amounts of money on political campaigns. They form, one way they do it is through political action committees. So you'll hear about PACs that are for usually specific industries. So it could be a pharmaceutical industry or the prison industry or whatever, but these PACs tend to take in a lot of money, and it takes a lot of money to run for office, unfortunately. And so they typically, the way that the politicians get into office is to get votes, and it takes money to be able to do that. And so you'll see a lot of politicians that are starting to turn down big money and doing much more grassroots campaigns so that they don't feel like they are, that they owe something to the corporations that are giving them money. So one of the things that we really support in civil survival and want to just kind of call attention to is that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have seen these types of statistics, but basically 1 in 3 people have a criminal record. So that would come out to about 70 to 100 million Americans that have a criminal record of some kind. So if we all got together, we would actually be like the biggest voting bloc in the country as a demographic. We already know that the criminal record or the criminal legal system disproportionately affects people of color. So 1 in 100 adults are behind bars, and 1 in 15 African men, just to show kind of the racial disparity there. Our kind of agenda, so we may not have money to get involved, but we do have a vote and we do have a voice. And one of the big bills, I'm going to go on to the next slide. One of the big bills that we worked on this last session was the voting rights bill. It was House Bill 1078. What this did was, starting January 1st, anybody who is not currently incarcerated is able to vote. I think it's important to acknowledge that they're really, ultimately, we don't believe that the right to vote should ever be taken away. There's no public safety reason to take the vote away. The whole reason that the right to vote was taken away was because of racist policies and to stop people of color, specifically Black people, from voting. And So if you have any questions about that, it used to be that you, back in 2009, it used to be that you had to pay off all of your legal financial obligations in order to vote. And you needed to be off DOC supervision. However, in 2009, it was changed to you did not have to pay off your LFOs, but you had to be making payments on them. So we're excited to get House Bill 1078 passed this year. That just it has nothing tied to supervision or your LFOs. As long as you are not under DOC custody, you have the right to vote. And let's see, that's actually the end of my slide. So I wanted to open it up for questions and see what you guys have questions about. I know that I went through that kind of fast. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, but you ended on a big bang.
Yeah. Does that?
I have a
Okay.
Do you have to be off a DOC to vote or to be able to vote?
What was the question, Julian?
Do you have to be off of DOC to be able to vote?
Not after January 2022. So I'm getting all of my numbers. January 1st, anybody who is outside of the prison gate can vote. So if you're on DOC custody or you're in work release, whatever, as long as you're not incarcerated 24/7 with DOC, starting January 1st, you will have your right to vote restored.
Thank you.
Michele, I see your hand up.
I can't mute myself.
Is that the same as getting a sponsor? So like, do you have a sponsor for the bill, or can somebody choose without being a sponsor?
No, that's a good point to bring up, because you'll hear that word sponsor. And so typically when a legislator introduces a bill, there is a what's considered the prime sponsor. So in the voting rights bill, and so that's that legislator's bill. That person is considered the prime sponsor of the bill. And we usually like to have, and then the second person is kind of considering co-sponsoring it. Many elected officials will sign on to show their support for the bill in the beginning. So as an example, again, with the voting rights bill, we had Tara as the prime sponsor. And we actually had bipartisan support on that. So we had a Republican co-sponsor. This particular Republican believes in limited government rights. So he doesn't believe in having your right to vote taken away and feels that that's a stretch for the government. So if we can find bipartisan support, that is always really helpful. The voting rights bill, I think, had like 40 legislators sign on to it as sponsors. After the first couple, it doesn't necessarily matter other than that legislator supports it. And so that can be really helpful. We're going to talk more tomorrow about talking to your legislators. But when there are bills out there, it's really important to also do your research. So if you have a bill that you're really interested in, you want to talk to your legislator about it, I highly recommend looking at the bill and seeing if they signed on to it, because if they signed on to it, you don't need to work that hard to sell them, right? They've already signed on to the bill, put their name on it, and they're good to go. So if that's the case, if you're meeting with that legislator, I typically, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow about talking with our legislators, but I'll thank them for their support and ask them how I can help them.
So do they have to be active, or can they be retired representatives or senators?
They have to be currently elected.
Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good questions. Any other questions? Also, I'll just take a second to pitch one of our other groups on Monday evenings. And we just started these last week. We did them this we did them back at when the legislature was in session, but on Monday evenings at 6:30, we have a directly impacted legislative caucus where we go over, we do some education, some civics education similar to this. But then once session is started, we track the bills, we give updates.
You just do whatever. I'm focusing on this meeting.
We get, we put out action item, action alerts. Because part of what happens too is if you're, when the bill is in the committee hearing, when that's coming up, as I mentioned, you can sign up to testify, but you also can just sign up pro on the bill, right? You can just sign up and say, have your name noted. So like some of the bills, might have 1,000 people that mark themselves pro. You can mark yourself pro, con, or neutral on the they have some concerns with the bill. So we might introduce a bill, and one of the big organizations that comes out and usually testifies around our bills is the acronym is WAPA, but it's the Washington Association of Prosecuting Attorneys. And so rather than all prosecuting attorneys coming in and sharing their opinions, usually the association will come to agreement, come to a decision on how they want to, whether or not they want to support this bill or not. But they might decide just to say that they're neutral. And usually if it's neutral, it means there's something in the bill that they do have a problem with. They don't have a problem with the overall idea around the bill or the ideology around the bill, but it could be a fiscal note. When we've done some of the LFO bills, we've had the counties, the Association of Counties or the Association of Cities, or the court clerks. They all have their own associations. But they might have, the fees and fines are really what funds the court system, and we're trying to move that. It's not, we don't believe that the court system should be paid for on the backs of people who can't afford it. So they might sign in and be like, yeah, we realize that there probably should be a better way to fund our court systems than on the backs of poor people. But we need you, the legislature, to come up with some money to replace this lost revenue. So that could be a reason why people might sign in as neutral. The other thing that I didn't go super in detail previously, but any of those times along the way, an amendment can be introduced to the bill, and either side can introduce an amendment. So that can happen in the policy committee and fiscal committee and on the floor. And these amendments can really change the bill. So there are times when we've had a bill that we've been supporting and we're excited about it, everybody's behind it, and then some amendments have been issued that water down the bill or change what we feel was the intent of the bill. And we'll send out an action alert to kill the bill. Like, we're just going to sign in con on this bill because now that these amendments have been passed, it's not what we wanted. So those amendments are really important to be watching out for. Usually as the legislation is going forward, and some of the bills that we're working on now, we already know that there might be some compromises that we need to make with the other side. So typically we want to start off with the most progressive or everything we want in the bill, even though there might be some parts in there that we think are going to be hard to pass. We'll still put them in there, but maybe agree to some compromises. And so usually that's, there are coalitions that are formed to work on these. And usually there are some kind of agreements on, what do we want for this bill to look like? Are we willing to give up this for that? An example in the voting rights bill is there were plenty of amendments that were introduced. Most of them were shot down, and I think the only one that went through was the exception to make it not effective until January 1st, which was to avoid the fiscal committee. But what we see often with our criminal justice bills is they want to what we call carve out people based on crime type. And so they'll want to say, well, you know, we're okay with these people voting, but these people, no way, they can't vote ever. And that happens with all kinds of bills. They always want to carve out different crimes. And we believe really strongly that, you know, there's the justice system. We went before a judge, we did our time, we did our sentence. It shouldn't be put forward to continue judging us on, you know, constantly. And so we don't like to create any hierarchy of the crimes, and believe that the justice system is better. I feel like I should put quotes around that. The justice system has its own problems, but we do really not like to see any carve outs. Michelle, did you have your hand up again?
I did, but I'm doing 5 things at once and I forgot what my question was.
Okay. Sorry, I'll be faster to get to you.
No, it's not you. No, you are doing an awesome job. Yeah, that's kind of my OCD, ADD mind. So, yeah.
I got the same thing. I will say it's, you know, our director, Tara Simmons, is now a legislator. And it's really important that we have representation in our legislature, right? So she's really the only person there who's really fighting for our community. And it's lonely. So any of you looking to run for office, we need more of us in there. But yeah, other questions?
I have a question. Maybe it's more of a comment than a question, but I do not understand how billion-dollar industries can make a profit off of state institutions. That is unethical. Just speaking the word, working for the state myself, it's unethical.
Absolutely.
So why are we not focusing our efforts on making it illegal for these billion-dollar industries to make a profit off of our suffering? Our suffering, our oppression, our marginalization, our children not being raised with fathers. Like, to me, it's like a no-brainer. And I feel like starting with these, well, right to vote or this, but let's get to the core of the problem here, right? I mean, this always
agree.
so much on fire. I just can't even hardly. I start spitting and sputtering, and it's kind of like I turn my wheels. Like, what do we do about that? And I don't hear talk about that. You know,
You're saying capitalism should be done away with.
Well, off of a state institution, how can you make money off of that? I guess
it's hard to avoid capitalism.
I don't know. I don't know. So I guess that's a comment. I honestly, seriously don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that there are
all the time that says this is where we're at, this is where we're working on. I'll be more than happy to forward you the information for the group, because this is the thing that we talk about is JPay, the $7. You can be charged up to $7, $6.95, right? And me, myself, I have loved ones who are currently incarcerated, or even having my video visits dropped and not getting it back, you know, all kinds of stuff going on. So just let you know, that is something that the coalition is working on right now.
And JPay was just fined $6 million for their practices. Not enough, in my opinion, but
yeah, it was in the news.
Just in case anyone was curious too, JPay uses an arbitrator called, I think it's JAMA. They happen to have they happen to have a Seattle location. And since they don't do refunds, you have 2 options. You can actually file a small claims court or small claims against them, or you can go to their arbitrator. And the more people that do small things like that will get their attention. Because if you have 50,000 people filing a $5,000 small claims court case, it's not really a whole lot of money off their back, and you might not win anything, but you're getting it in a court record. And now you're starting to cost them money because they paid their attorneys. Where in small claims court, you don't have to pay anyone. You can do it yourself. Just an idea.
Michelle, this is Rocio. Can you forward me that information too, please?
Yes. If you want to drop me your email.
It's ROCIOL as in Lopez 836@gmail.com.
Oh, I gotcha. Look at, I got all my 50 million notes that I'll have to redo after this. So thank you. Yes, I will.
Okay. Got enough time for maybe one or two other questions. I know there's kind of a wrap up to no? Okay, I think I don't have my agenda up in front of me. Am I passing it back to Michele?
You know, I'm having technical difficulties, and so I don't have the agenda either. And also my grandson's crying behind me, but so we'll all just deal with it. We're just closing out, and I just wanted to. Can you grab him real quick? I just wanted to remind everybody that this is day one of a 2-day workshop. And the best part is coming Saturday, where we'll have an attorney in attendance to give a presentation around vacating records, legal financial obligation relief, as well as registry relief. And then we'll dive deep into our stories and the power of our stories and how to share those in an effective way with lawmakers. And then we'll have actual lawmakers come and be in attendance to hear our stories and how these barriers that we experience due to that label, these labels that have been put on us, how these affect ourselves, our access to opportunity, as well as our children and our families. Because when we can't find safe housing or secure housing, that affects our children and our families as well. And that adds to the generational cycle of incarceration and poverty. And so, you know, we're working to make our communities safer for generations. And with that said, I look forward to seeing you all Saturday. We'll start at 10 a.m. I'll be sending out another link to everybody. And we'll see you then. Michele, you got anything to add, or Chris?
Great stuff. Thank you. Looking forward to Saturday.
Yes, family, it has been amazing learning, laughing, and growing with you all. So just remember, we're family now. So I'm expecting those invites to the cookout, to the barbecue, to Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever we celebrate, we're family. And that's how we take, we take family seriously. So you all are family to me, and I'm learning so much from you all. Hopefully we get to see you on Saturday. If everyone could please on this call, once these guys know, once we're family, you seem lost, I will come and get you. Thank you. Letting you know, I will snatch you back. Just letting y'all know. But anyways, with that being said, y'all, please, if I don't have you guys, well, no, I already know some of you probably don't have my email address. Please email me so I will have yours so that we can support one another. Because sometimes I just need a sounding board too. I'm here for everybody. So please be there for me, please. So please email me your email addresses, and I look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. In love, peace, and solidarity. This is how we do.
Yes, I'll just echo what everybody said. Excited to see you Saturday. We have 4 legislators that are coming. So super excited for them. And so be thinking about your stories and what type of things you might want to, if there's a type of bill. So Christy, your question, that might be a really good question for our legislator. Why aren't they doing that? Why did they, why are we not asking for minimum wage for our people currently under DOC custody, but we fought for the ICE center, right? So again, what are the questions? And Mark, I love your background. Thank you. So I guess between now and Saturday, I would just like for you guys to kind of think about what are some questions you might want to ask your legislators. I think it's important to come to them with some solutions too. And we're going to talk more about telling our stories, but you'll only have like 2 to 3 minutes maybe to talk to the legislators usually. So you also need to practice being concise. And again, we'll talk more about that on our storytelling, but looking forward to seeing everybody on Saturday.
All right, we appreciate y'all, and I hope you all have a great evening and enjoy your families or whatever, your pets or whatever you have at home.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Sorry, Kelly, Michelle, thank you.
Happy Halloween.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you,
everybody.
guys. Thank you.
All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a great night and y'all stay safe over there.
All right.
Thank you.